Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Nedling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome everyone to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Nedling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. As always, the goal of this podcast is to empower you with topics as well as guests that will take your business or your life to the next level. Today, I'm very excited to have Kerry-Ann Powell as my guest. So let me just tell you a little bit about Kerry-Ann. She is committed to spreading the gospel that running a small business and medium-sized business is vital and important to our economies. Yet it doesn't have to feel like trying to manage a chaotic tornado. Business owners can run their business smoothly and feel confident that they will thrive. Please join me in welcoming Kerry-Ann Powell and our talk today, A Smooth Operator, like the song. You can run your business smoothly without chaos and stress. Kerry-Ann Powell.
Hi, Vicki. How are you?
I am well. Such a beautiful smile you have.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me on your fantastic podcast.
It is my pleasure. So I always start with the easy question of where do you call home? Where do you live?
Well, it's a longer question because, my mother and my family were from Florida, but I spent a large part of my adulthood in Washington, D.C. So I actually feel Washington, D.C. is home. But right now, my business is based out of Stamford, Connecticut.
Oh, my goodness. So you just have got the whole Eastern Seaboard.
I know, I tell you.
All right. So I'm sure everybody wants to get to know how we can get out of chaos. But how long did it take to get from Washington, D.C., D.C. attorney, a lobbyist, fundraising, to being a business strategist? I mean, really, an attorney to a strategist, how can that happen?
How can it possibly happen?
That's right. There's got to be something wacky
going on. What I ended up doing. So when I got to Washington, I finished my law degree, and I was practicing law and loved it, and started, I was a lobbyist for a time doing food safety stuff. And during that time, before I went to law school, I was a professional fundraiser. When the Washington, D.C. Martin Luther King Memorial was being built, they needed someone to come in to do fundraising on a high level. And I just happened to have had that skill set. And of course, it's the Martin Luther King Memorial. So I was very excited to leave my lobbying job to work on this project. Of course, I thought I was going to do it for a couple of years and head back to law, but clearly I never did. But once I was able to help to raise the $120 million plus that we did and built that wonderful memorial that's sitting there, I thought to myself, wow, that was a huge thing in my life. And it really helped me to think about, what it takes to really lead a team. And we had a small team. A lot of people thought we had a very large team, but, a lot of people, building, so it was almost like we were a small business, but yet, it was vital and important. It was an international level project, and I needed to bring in over $120 million. And so during that stage, when I first got the position, I can imagine I was chaotic.
I was going to say, being a lawyer too, goodness.
Yeah, Vicki, I can't tell you the level of chaos I was dealing with. And then I was like, no, there has to be better ways to organize this process and make it work so we can be successful as a smaller team. And so once we finished the memorial, I really was really excited about I really first started working with executive women around this. But then I just evolved into, me working with small and medium-sized businesses that are owned by not only women, but women and men. But of course, the majority of my clients are women. And so that's how I transitioned. When I left that project, I was like, I want to be able to use the skills and the tools and the ideas that I got from doing this major project, and really help others to do the same.
Yeah, because they're probably not going to want 120 million. They'll just be happy with a couple million.
I know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit more about small and medium businesses and why they are so important to the world, as we talked about in the intro.
Yeah. Well, so, you hear a lot about the big ones, right? The big major companies like, the Apples and the Googles and such. But when you think about most of the businesses in the world, 90% are small and medium-sized businesses. Most people work for a small and medium-sized business. We look at the amount of innovation coming out of business, and it's coming from small and medium-sized businesses. When you think about the companies that support local communities, what are they? Small and medium-sized businesses. You look at the taxes that support the infrastructure of communities. What are those? Small, medium-sized businesses. So, I think it's very important that that there's a role that owners of these businesses play in not just their communities, not just in supporting the lives of their employees and the families of their employees, but also how our nation evolves, and nations around the world, and then how our world evolves. So I think it's very important that we invest in small and medium-sized businesses, making sure that they have the things they need to thrive, because if they don't, we see the impact.
Wow. So true.
Yeah.
So can running a thriving business feel non-chaotic, non-stressful? Can that happen?
Like, is it possible? Is that like
is it a magic wand you have that says
the unicorn hanging out?
That's right. Is it a different dimension where we
ask me that question all the time. They're like, are you drinking? What's going on?
That's right. And I want that Kool-Aid.
I know, really. Well, here's my posture on smoothly running. Now, of course, a business is one of those things where people, we're going to have ups and downs. But I think what we have come to think of as normal chaos in a business are actually symptoms of sinister problems that can indeed lead to business failure. So, when you start looking at some of the things, when I talk about chaos, I'm talking about inconsistent cash flow, low revenue. That's chaos, right? When you start looking at, when the owner cannot walk away from the business without feeling like it's going to implode, that's a problem. When you have a situation when the staff is not performing well, but we continue to let that happen, or not hiring staff. Hello, Vicki. That happens so much with businesses, particularly owned by women. They just want to continue to be a solopreneur. They're just stressed out. They're trying to manage their business, plus their families, plus all the things they do in their communities. And it's just, that is chaos. And you'd be surprised to know that those things I've just described are in the top 7 reasons for why businesses fail. 75% of businesses fail because of lack of cash. But yet I can't tell you how many times, a business owner will come to me and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about, getting help, but it's all, I said, well, how's your cash flow? It's okay. I'm like, what's revenue looking like? Oh, for the past, I don't know, 4 quarters, I haven't hit my goals. I'm like, that's a problem, that's a big problem. So I think that, the question that you asked, is it possible to run a business smoothly? Absolutely, if you can identify what the root causes are. Because once you focus on the root causes, so those 4 things I mentioned are just simply symptoms. But if you can focus on the root causes and begin to put those into place, then all of those chaotic ups and downs that you see happening can be more like little blips. like this. And that's where the unicorn steps in. It's not that you're not going to have any problems in a business. There are natural problems that happen in a business that are actually kind of exciting and allows, entrepreneurs are crazy people.
To be creative though, too.
Right, to be creative. But when you have all of this happening all the time, no, that's not okay. And I think we have I don't know, in the entrepreneurial world and small business world, it's like a badge of honor to say, oh yeah, I'm really exhausted, I'm really tired, or it's almost like it's okay, or it's like the way things should be. But in the end, if you have that kind of chaos, it is a sign that there's real big problems, and it does lead to either a business not thriving or possibly failing, because that's just how it works.
From that, I thought of a couple things, or was reminded of a couple things. First of all, you have to spend money to make money. That was the first thing that I thought.
Hello, Vicki.
And then the second thing,
say it one more time for the cheap seats in the back.
You have to spend money to make money, people.
Hallelujah.
Then the other thing was that, women do have a problem with delegating. We can do it better ourselves. We can do it faster, and patience is a virtue. And you definitely have to learn that. But also I think that, as you said, the failures, the chaos, the stress that comes is really the opportunity for you to really get creative, to really use your creative juices to take that whatever you're doing to the next level.
You are absolutely right. And I think, we start thinking about, because one of the reasons why I love working with business owners, it's not just the business itself. We often say at our business, we love the business, but we love the owner more, because in the end, I think that if the beautiful thing about us being on this planet right now, at the time that we are, is that, we're having this human experience, right? And one of the beautiful things about being a human is growth. That's what you see in nature. You see it in everything. It's all about growth. When we run a business, it is taking us to the places where we're going to have to grow. We have to grow if we're going to run a business. So when we see these challenges, it's just an opportunity, as you said, to be creative, to grow, to step into our power and be able to say, yes, I'm going to identify what the root cause is and begin to fix it. And not try to put your head in the sand and ignore the fact that quarter after quarter, you're not hitting your revenue goals. Oh, well, it'll happen next quarter, but nothing changes in your behavior, right? So I really think it gives us the opportunity to, as you said, to be creative and to grow. And I think that's the beauty of it, frankly.
For sure. So why are some SMEs, subject matter experts, not growing? They're not scaling. And how can they fix that? How can they, I guess, change their mindset?
Yeah. Well, I think that the first thing is to pause first and say, this chaos is not okay. Period. Second thing would be to then identify what symptom of chaos is happening in your business. I mean, there might be all of them, but let's say it's an issue of cash flow. Okay. Be real about it and acknowledge that. Don't just try to say, well, it's, this quarter is because of this, and then that quarter was because of that. Just recognize the thing. Then from there, take a look at, so I have about 8 culprits that I have found based on my work with small businesses that I can point to as being the fundamental cause or root cause of chaos. And, one of them really is that there's not, business owners and entrepreneurs, we're kind of crazy. We do the whole thing. But the first thing is really that there's not enough foundational stuff happening in the business. We had an idea, and then, people said it was, like you're a baker, right? Oh, people said your cakes are great. Okay, I'm going to start selling my cakes. And I think that's lovely. But then there's no business plan. There's no vision for the for the business. There's no product formulation. You didn't test to see if the market was ready for those beautiful cakes that you made. I mean, is the business model that you've created, is that even, a model that will work? Even like the idea of what's your exit strategy out of the business, because at some point you need to create that. So there's some fundamental things that don't exist in many businesses, because they went from I make great cakes to now I own a bakery. It's like, wait a minute.
And also, I make great cakes, and then it took off. And now I have to manage people, and I don't know anything about doing that.
And I know, because that's actually one of the issues. One of the fundamental issues is that when you have a team that's working below par, and what the issue was with that is, normally it's because we said, okay, we can't do it alone, so you're going to bake these cakes, and we have to bring more people in, but Judy's son, or my best friend Judy, his son, her son is a good worker, so I'm going to hire him. And then my best friend Edith, she just left corporate. She'll come and work with me. There's no org chart. There's no job description. There's nothing. So you have these people that you're hiring, and nobody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So they're tripping over each other. I mean, when there's two people, it's fine. You just divvy the work. But what happens when you're building it and you're building it strong? So a large part of that is knowing what you need, what's the org chart, what does it take to actually do that job that's in that box? Hiring people that are qualified for that box, and they're seated in the right box, and they're moving on the right bus, right? So so that's one of the big issues I've noticed, is that, and particularly for women-owned businesses, because, we're normally caretakers. So we're like, we're going to bring everyone into the fold and just kind of let everyone do their thing. It's like, I think, the term I always hear is like hiring by personality, as opposed to hiring by skill or hiring by your org chart. So I think that's a really, really important part, is building a team that's based on what you need in the business, as opposed to, the people that you like.
Yeah, I think I take it even one step further, because you don't want to hire you, because you have you, and you need somebody that does the things that you can't do.
Yes.
So, and if you're a happy-go-lucky, do whatever kind of person, but you need somebody that's this is what we're going to do, this is when we're going to do it, this is how we're going to do it, to balance the team, right?
Vicki, you hit it on the head.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if you hire somebody, I always hire for people with attitude. It takes, years to change a person's behavior. So I don't want to hire somebody thinking I can make them have a good attitude. If they don't interview with a good attitude, I don't care if they have every skill I need. I can train skills. I cannot train attitude.
Oh my goodness. Say that again.
Yes, you cannot train attitude, people.
Say that again.
Do not hire people that you get that bad gut feeling whenever you're interviewing them, because it will just get worse.
It will get worse. And it's so important to hire people who are self-motivated.
Yeah.
Because, you hire someone, I mean, like you said, you can train people. And to be honest with you, when I hire in my organization, I don't hire, look, I came from a legal background, and, the law school, you're like, hire the rock stars. That's not really how I operate anymore. I hire people who have a good attitude, like what you said, and are self-motivated.
Yeah.
And I can train them to do anything. And the way that I do it in our business, because it's different from everyone else's business. Just because you've had years and years of experience doing it in someone else's business, I mean, that's not how it's going to work in my business.
Yeah.
But if you can have someone who's self-motivated and has a good attitude, you can train them. What you said was gospel.
And the other thing is, when you get that person who has good attitude, self-motivated, if you share with them your vision, your goals, and they understand what their part in achieving the vision goal, that they really feel they have a stake in the success, they'll work hard for you. But if they're just thinking, I'm here 9 to 5, I have no idea how my effort impacts the bottom line, it's going to be harder to motivate them.
You're right. You're right. And it's one of the 8 things that I always talk about as being problematic is because, we have one of the things is that people, as business owners, we must have a strategy. It's North Star, right? And then once you have the strategy, then you need to have some systems and procedures in place that how you actually do the thing. And then you need to be able to have exceptional execution.
Yeah.
If those 3 things are not connected, what the strategy is, and then how it shows up in the procedures that you operate under, and then how you hold yourself, the business owner, as well as your team accountable to executing everything exceptionally, then that's the problem. So if they don't see the vision, they don't see the strategy, the strategic objectives of your business, they don't know why they're doing this thing over here. They're like, why am I doing this weird thing here? But if they see the vision, you'd be surprised. I have a funny story. When we were building the Martin Luther King Memorial, I'm like, the vice president, director of development, right? And we've got a whole team working underneath me that are reporting into me, right? Well, we had one particular great event where we were having one of the major trucking companies was wrapping all of their, semi trucks with the branding of the memorial for a good 2 years. And so we were going to be launching that sort of a press conference on the National Mall around this. So we're all excited. I felt very proud of myself because I helped to broker the deal. And, so they were sending one of their semi trucks onto the National Mall, Vicki. Now, the National Park Service does not do semi trucks on the National Mall. So when we got the permit, they said if they get the truck has to arrive by 5:30 a.m. If it doesn't arrive, we will block them. So we were on the phone with the guy, texting, and the turn he made a wrong turn. You know how Washington D.C. the roads is, made a wrong turn, and it was hitting 5:30. And we saw him drive past where we were, where the press conference was going to be at the site. And literally, I was there with 2 of my colleagues, both senior folks in the organization. We're cute. We're wearing the high heels, girl. You know how we roll. And the makeup, the suits. And I see him drive by. And if he kept going, then it was going to be past 5:30. The National Park Service was not going to let him come in. I was running.
I can see.
I took those heels off and I am running. And me and my colleagues were running down to get, we finally got him and got him to turn around the whole thing. But let me just tell you, people don't run in their cute shoes at 5:30 in the morning because of a job. They do it because they're bought into a mission. And so when people are bought into your mission, they'll be running at 5:30 in the morning in cute shoes too.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, it is already time for us to do rapid fire. This is where I will give you 5 different questions, and as quickly as you can, give me an answer. And again, some of these it will probably, not be a short answer, but as quickly as you can.
I'll try to be as fast.
So I think we covered some of this already. How can an owner of a SME attract and maintain a rock star team? So we talked about getting that team, but how do you keep them? Because everybody's going to want them.
Yes. Make sure that you are honoring their skill sets. Make sure that you're creating a safe space for them to thrive in their skills, and making sure that you are rewarding their behaviors.
Yeah. That's it. Key. Make them feel valued and worth.
Make them feel valued. And it doesn't always have to be about money, Vicki.
No, for sure. So, I was just talking to someone today about the fact that, with remote teams, it doesn't mean, it's just like when you're at the office. If you have a team, you need to walk around, talk to them, find out what's going on, what's happening. Yes. And when you have remote teams, you just don't only call them when you have a problem or if you need something. You need to just call and say, how you doing?
How you doing?
How's your day? Yes,
You know,
just little things, little things.
little things. Those, all of when the Great Resignation was taking place a year or so ago,
It's
a
still
lot of
taking place.
well, there you go. But a lot of studies started, going, doing some studies around what was happening and what were people needing. And you thought that everyone was like, a lot of people think, oh, people just want money, just want more money, want more money. But the real reason is they want to feel appreciated. They want to be given the ability to have the autonomy to decide when they work. It's just basic human stuff. It's not rocket science. So yeah, I completely agree. Treat your employees right, they'll stay with you forever.
Right. What is important for founders of startups, again, to have that exit plan? Because they just built the thing. Why should I think about my going away?
Oh, I know, because the other day, one of my aunts sold one of her. She had a childcare facility, okay, for 15 years. One of the best childcare facilities in their community. Those folks' family stayed with her until the last child was born. One of those type of places.
Yeah.
She just retired, had nothing to sell, had no business to sell. She retired without being able to not only pass on the business, but be able to get equity out of it.
Wow.
You have to have a plan for the business. Like, what is your plan to exit so that you can build accordingly? Do you want to sell it? Then you begin to create procedures and policies and SOPs that create a value. Do you want to pass it on to your children or your grandchildren? Then you need to be able to have a plan for how you're going to fund that sale and that passing on. There needs to be a thought process around it, because you build your business based on what the exit strategy is.
Right. So what is a small business champion?
I think, it's people like you and I that recognize the value of what small businesses bring to our communities, to the employees that they hire, to the local towns and cities that they live in, and how it impacts our nation's economy, and then it trickles up to the world. If we can begin to start looking at small businesses, it's not, little things little small people over here doing a small little cute thing, but that there is an important part to our economy, an important part to the way that we live. Then we began to create policies around supporting small businesses. We begin to support the learnings of small business. We begin to invest resources and provide funding for small businesses. And in the end, I think it only benefits, our communities.
Our country was founded on small businesses.
Hello, really. Exactly.
What do you consider your greatest accomplishment thus far?
Well, I would say professionally, it was definitely building the Martin Luther King Memorial. It's really so cool when I scroll through social media and I see people posting their pictures of being there and so forth. So I think professionally, that is my biggest accomplishment. I would say in my life, it's being true to my values and being true to the things that, I've learned from my family and from my ancestors, and, just being true to who I am. I think because, in a world like this where there's so many things coming at you and so many messages, I think it's really important to have a core sense of self, know what your purpose is, know why you're here, and live in that purpose and walk it out.
Right.
And I think that's, I'm proud of that.
Awesome. What's the next path on your journey? Wow.
Well, I would say the business is going great. And I think, I'd love to start experimenting with some software type of things. I'm noticing that there's so many things that business owners need by way of software to continue to run their businesses smoothly that aren't really on the market. So I've been kind of, looking around. I'm not a techie, but I'm looking around trying to figure out what are the best solutions to support small businesses. Because a lot of the software that's out there is really designed for large companies, particularly when you start looking about strategy and strategic planning, as well as creating SOPs. So I'm kind of tinkling around that little tech part of me. But I think personally, I love to travel. And so the next step is really to continue to travel, continue to explore the world, meet different people, grow, understand different cultures. That's really something that's, that
great. Sounds awesome.
Thank you. And I'm really glad that you and I were able to connect, Vicki. I love your podcast and what you're doing. It's really, good stuff. I listened to like so many of them.
I know. I have a lot more to post yet.
I know you have a lot. But what I love about you and what you're doing on your podcast is that you're bringing in great people, but it's like you're hitting the needs of the audience in a way that, because so many women need to be able to, sometimes you get clouded in your everyday, day-to-day. Yeah. And I think the stuff that you're bringing out to the forefront is so important and so key. So really.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Well, it is time for me to warn those audience members that if you were just listening in, you need to go grab that pencil and paper. Again, go grab the pencil and paper. We have TRAFALGAR strategies, Trafalgar strategies. There's a city in Canada, Ontario, that's, I believe, something spelled similar to that or exactly that way. Trafalgar strategies.com. It should be right. Did I spell that?
Just
CO. Okay, good.
There's actually, I know there's a comms. There's another company that has com. I'm like, oh boy.
.co. Okay, good. So everybody, don't worry that the M is not there. It's CO. And she is on LinkedIn with her name. So Kerry-Ann hyphenated Powell. And Instagram, she is same, Kerry-Ann T, like Tom Powell. She's going to talk to you about the free gift that she has and how you can get it.
Yeah. Oh, so basically, I have an ebook. It's called The 8 True Culprits Causing Chaos in Your Business. So if you're experiencing any of the chaotic things I talked about, or any other chaotic things that are happening in your business, this is a great book for you. It will help you identify the true fundamental reasons why this chaos is happening and allow you to begin to fix it. And with that comes with one of the biggest ones we talked about, Vicki's about cash flow. Again, 75% of businesses that fail because of cash flow. So in that, I'll be also adding a cash flow projection spreadsheet, which will allow everyone to be able to sit down, do a projection, 12 months out, and allow for them to really assess, hey, what's my money really looking like? Because sometimes we don't know, Vicki.
Yeah, for sure.
But sign up for the book if you think that you have some chaos in the business.
And again, that is at www.nobusinesschaos.com. Again, that's nobusinesschaos.com.
Because we don't want any business chaos.
That's right.
No business chaos.
So it was so wonderful talking to you. You gave such a wealth of information, great content for everybody, small business, entrepreneur, or, just sometimes just running a household. There's chaos there as well. So take on her gift. That's a great spreadsheet to get to keep you from not having that aspect of the chaos, at least. Visit her on her Instagram and her LinkedIn, and make comments below in the YouTube and or my website to let me know what you thought of this podcast. If you wanted to see more of this, we would love to have Kerry-Ann come back and talk more about maybe specifically going through that spreadsheet so that people can use that tool and understand. It's one thing to get the tool, but maybe sometimes we need help to use it. So maybe we should come back.
I'll be happy to do so. Yeah, I'll be happy to do so, Vicki. It's such a pleasure to have spent this time with you. And
you as well.
Of course, as the holiday approaches, I send that greetings to you and your family and everyone out there.
Thank you. Yes, happy holidays to everyone. This is not going to come out, though, until January. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I dated us.
No worries. No worries. All right. As always, I'd like to remind everybody that life is a journey and it is up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Nettling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Nettling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.